Educated on your Second Amendment rights. Welcome to 2 full hours of Gun Owners Radio. Your hosts Dave Stahl, Joe Germisi, and Michael Schwartz will teach you about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your rights to keep and bear arms. Visit gunownersradio.com with questions to learn how to become a sponsor of Gun Owners Radio and get involved. Together, we will win. Now here's your hosts, Dave Stahl, Joe Germisi, and Michael Schwartz on The Answer San Diego.
All right, folks. Hey, welcome to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Well, Uvalde. My
Close.
gosh.
Close enough.
Buffalo.
Just say Texas.
Yeah, it is. Uvalde. I know how to say it.
I love your pronunciations.
I just stumbled. Uvalde.
Pronunciations.
Buffalo.
Isn't it pronunciations?
Yes. And proven again that gun laws don't work. Criminals, by definition, do not obey the law. So why would more laws that don't work start working? It just doesn't make sense. Gun control laws just make it harder for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. Instead of making it harder for bad guys to get guns, what if we make it easier for good guys to get guns? How do we make that happen? Just join a Second Amendment activist group like San Diego County Gun Owners. SDCGO makes activism easy. Join today at San Diego County GunOwners.com. That's San Diego County GunOwners.com, and join today. So you must be a pretty happy little camper this week.
What did you think of that? That was pretty. It was pretty amazing. Melissa, did you see that there was a little bit of a Supreme Court situation?
I did.
Just a
Did
little.
you hear about that in the news?
I did.
What did you think?
I think that's amazing, and I hope that it stays. What do you think? Do you think it'll go away?
No, it's not going to go away.
It's good. Yeah, it's done.
This is historic, possibly even more historic than Heller versus DCU in 2008. And I honestly, I think it's way better written. It's much stronger.
Right.
The decision. Heller was honestly, Heller was a little, I don't know, a little squirrely, a little convoluted.
A little loose,
maybe, but this is right in your face.
Yeah. And
Second Amendment.
I hate to say it, but if you haven't read the Second Amendment, you might want to read it, because this is about as close to it as you can get at this point.
Yeah. So it.
And what about the other law that they passed? Okay, they threw another red flag laws and all of that.
Right.
I don't necessarily have a serious problem with those. Do you?
Yes. So let's back up. So the decision got rid of good cause. Right. So there is no more good cause. There are no more may issue states. Every state is now a shall issue state.
Right.
You don't have to provide good cause. You don't have to have good cause. You don't have to write a good cause statement. You don't have to come up with an excuse for why you need. You just go in and go through the procedure, which is fill out the application, pay the fee, go to the class, and boom, you're going to get a background check, and then you're going to get a CCW. Now, the other thing and so that they immediately on Friday said, okay, California, no more good cause. So if you're in San Diego, if you're in Orange, if you're in Riverside, San Bernardino, whatever county you're in California, no more good cause. The other thing I think it did, if you read the decision, I think it's page 29 of the decision, and throughout the whole thing, there's no more subjectivity. It has to be objective, which right now the background checks, some people who have a DUI in their history don't get a CCW. Some people do. Some people get one if it's been 5 years. Some don't because it's been 4 years. I think that all that stuff's got to go away too. I think that is the way I read the decision, and I think that there's probably going to be a court case unless changes are made. If you can legally own the gun, then you get a CCW. Where now,
because how could you have one without? How could you buy one and then be prohibited to carry it?
Well, but what they're doing now is even if you can legally own the gun, you can't always get a CCW. Correct, which is ridiculous.
That's the ridiculous part.
And honestly, think it through. Like, what does that actually look like? What are you preventing? If somebody owns a gun and you say, hey, you know what? You own a gun, but you're too dangerous to have a CCW.
That's ludicrous. How many laws have been truly thought through?
Like none of them.
When you come right down to it, it's like, well, you just built a road that goes out, and now there's nothing but fresh air.
Right. Well,
but that's okay. I think I thought that was an astounding call from the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And here's the third thing it did, and then we're going to talk about the law. We're going to talk about Biden's law that you just talked about. So the third thing it did is it said, look, this is how the courts have to look at all gun cases, all Second Amendment cases. They have to look at it, and text and history, basically strict constructionist. What did it mean when it was written? Mm-hmm. Not, well, gee, how does this apply to modern society? No. It's how is it? What was the meaning when it was written? What does the actual text say? And that's huge.
Right.
That's enormous. There are dozens of cases right now waiting to be heard. And everybody kind of put the brakes on, waiting to see what this lawsuit or what this decision was going to read. So now you're going to see, the assault weapons case. They're going to get a ruling. You're going to see the magazine case. Mm-hmm. You're going to see the pistol roster case, the 1 in 30 case. You're going to start seeing all these. So a lot of people think, all right, great, we just won this case. Mm-hmm. We just got this huge ruling. So now, let's all dance in the streets. Everything's solved.
We're done.
Nope. We're kicking off.
We just opened Pandora's box.
Except it's on our side.
It's on for once.
Yeah,
it's
for
on
once
our
we
side.
have a solid foundation. Keller said that you have the right to keep, and Bruen says, yep, you have the right to bear, and McDonald in 2010 said it applies to all 50 states.
Right.
So boom, now you're going to see 5 to 10 years worth of lawsuits.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I ran into John Dillon, and he goes, oh my God, I'm going to make so much money.
He didn't say that. Doesn't sound like John at all. Yeah. But okay, so now you got the law that was passed, and it wasn't just Biden. It was 14, I think, Republicans jumped in, and including Cornyn out of Texas and Graham out of South Carolina. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, some of it's good. Like one, there no gun bans in this law.
Right.
Which
I was shocked.
I was pretty surprised.
I thought something would be buried in there someplace, on the last page of the 3 million pages that they write it out on. But no, I was very shocked.
There was a lot of talk, assault weapons ban crap.
Yeah. And if you notice,
crap.
They're not calling them assault weapons anymore.
What are you hearing?
What have I been hearing?
Just semi-automatic?
Semi-automatics.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard them using, the assault weapon because it's never been. I even heard one station actually use the name what assault weapon stood for, which I can't remember what it is right off the top of my head. But
I know I've heard them
something light.
They're using they're calling them semi-automatics. Trying to ban all semi-autos. Or weapons of war. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Weapons of war.
But,
which is fine. By the way, everybody listening, don't fight that. Call them weapons of war, because if they're not weapons of war, they're not protected by the Second Amendment.
That's right.
That's exactly the intent
I know.
of the Second Amendment. So, yeah, all right, cool.
What did Pelosi say? She wants to take us all back to muskets? Because that's when
because that's what she remembers best.
Absolutely, and
as a young woman,
and that's what the Second Amendment was pointing to. She said, "We're muskets."
She should know. She was around. I think
she was in Congress. Too.
She was a young secretary.
She was in Congress.
She's such a soup sandwich.
Oh.
So okay, no gun bans in the Biden law.
Right.
There are. They want to provide funding for red flag laws, which is bad. And
true.
And we've talked a lot about how much we hate red flag laws. The problem is that the only form of red flag law right now are the gun violence restraining orders, and all they do is lower the standards so that you can basically accuse somebody and then boom, they go take your guns. And that's just it's not happening. Is there a red flag? Conceptually, is it possible for a red flag law to exist that would be constitutional and wouldn't step on the rights of gun owners? I suppose, but I haven't seen it yet.
No.
I haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't either.
So.
All right.
And then there's funding for school security. That's good. Mental health. That's good, I guess. But I don't know. It all seems like a bunch of fluffy.
But you don't have
fluff.
I think the last two
fluffy fluff, Dave.
Are fluff. I don't see anything getting done. That's going to have to be done. Individual school districts. That's how that's going to happen. Hey, as a result of her studies of human rights, YouTube, Rhonda Mary quickly became a Second Amendment advocate. She has spent the last few years educating others on the human rights, particularly black women, which are often left out of the gun right conversation. But first, if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you need to call our California firearms lawyer, John Dillon. If you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that your guns are California compliant, call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. You can call him at 760-642-7150 or visit his website at dillonlawgp.com.
All right. Our first guest is Rhonda Mary. She is a YouTuber, a Second Amendment advocate, and a podcaster. Rhonda, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Can't complain.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Now, tell us, how did you become a YouTuber?
Oh, wow. So, well, for a while, people have been telling me that I should start a YouTube, and people would say, do a YouTube about, like, hair or makeup or something like that. I'm like, that's totally not me. But at the time, I would be on Facebook just talking about all these different, like, political and social topics, and people would seem to get riled up. And for some reason, I just feel like, well, maybe if I just explain it in a longer format, people can get a better understanding of what I'm saying. So I decided to start doing YouTube, just talking about, political content, things that were going viral on social media and all of this. And the thought that people would understand me more or better was not exactly the case. But I was able to kind of like build a following and make connections and find other people, across the country and within my demographic and without that agreed with me, and started somewhat becoming a voice for some people that may have felt like me but felt like they couldn't really stand up and speak about some of these topics. So that's how it started.
Yeah, I get people encourage me all the time to start YouTube channels about hair and makeup too. I totally get where you're coming from, but I don't know, you have a talent, So how did you, what got you interested in politics and social issues?
It's not one particular thing. I've always kind of, even as I was in grade school, I've always kind of been more outspoken and willing to share my thoughts. And so that was just what I was into at the time. And I guess I felt like I was way more willing than kind of like the average person to sometimes be controversial, not necessarily intentionally, but just because of the way that things have been polarizing and censored and all of these other things. And so, I was just willing to step up and speak about some of these things.
What part of the country are you in?
I'm from Mississippi, born and raised.
And how would you describe your politics? Are you do you fit in a particular box, or where do you? What are some of your hot button topics too?
Well, one of my biggest videos, which was a few years ago now, I think maybe 4 to 6 years at this point, was my walk away video, where I talked about how I was, just starting to realize and take notice that a lot of the things that I had been told and taught by mainstream leftist media was either not true or either something that I didn't really actually identify with when I really started to break down some of these, things. And so now I would say that I'm way more conservative leaning, but, I don't ascribe to any particular party at this time. I would say I'm more independent, and I really enjoy listening to politicians say what they actually stand for instead of just allowing certain messages to be parroted to me, kind of listening and looking at the things when, I don't know, sometimes the media is telling us, look the other way. They didn't mean it like that. They didn't say it like that. That's not really what they meant, and so I think that's just super important and something that I've tried to get across to people.
Well, so what's a message that you were fed or given that was maybe when you were growing up that you discovered really wasn't true? Like what's something specific that you were that was maybe forced on you through media that you just found out, hey, you know what? It's not like that at all.
That Democrats are virtuous and immoral, like just because, like, and that's just not the case. And one of the things that I've learned during this time is that when you look like me, a young black woman, I have red hair, I have the nose ring, I'm not, people automatically put me in a box. They assume that I'm going to think a certain way, and then I go on a platform like Jubilee, and now you have all of these white liberals, unfortunately, attacking me for my views and telling me, how dare you think like this as a black woman? This is so embarrassing. And I'm like, who are you to tell me to think like anything? And so that's been one of the biggest eye-openers, is that the media will push, listen to black women, and all of these other things, these very pandering tones. But then when you actually speak and it goes against the narrative that's been pressed upon you, it's like, oh, no, not you. You set up. Maybe the black lady behind you. I don't know. Let's give her a chance. Let's try it.
Maybe they should be more specific as to exactly which black lady they're talking about, I guess.
I mean, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. This monolith. Even when Joe Biden can say things like, "If you don't vote for me, you ain't black," or
so when
y'all learn like the Hispanics, they're actually like not a monolith. They're actually like different. And it's like, what the world? That is so offensive. What
was it like when he said that? Because I remember when he said that. I don't know if you were thinking about voting for him or not at the time, but when he said that, what went through your head?
I actually wasn't surprised. Like, if this was years and years ago, I may have been surprised. But before this journey of learning and unlearning, I'm like, yeah, this goes perfectly, with his record. And one thing I noticed is that some of these characters, they try to recreate so different generations see or remember them differently, or they may try to paint them differently. But when you look at the history of who Joe Biden has actually been, and not just what this pretty picture that's been painted, it's right on par.
Mm-hmm. Every bit of it, absolutely.
Every bit of it.
So I found a picture of your red hair. Look, Dave.
Yeah, that's cute as a button.
Look at her red hair.
No one would ever.
Oh, you're cute. Look at your hair.
No one would ever think she's packing.
Okay, so you're wearing a shirt that says "Entertainers are not leaders." Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah. So I actually got that from Malcolm X, who specifically, there was a message that he was giving to the black community, and he was just expressing how you would have these different faces that would be invited to the White House to speak to the White House on behalf of the black community, and they would call these people black leaders. And he would say that just because you play a trumpet, just because you tell a joke, does not make you a leader.
Yeah.
And it's just this reminder that even now, if we look at freaking Matthew McConaughey,
yeah, that's exactly what came to mind.
It goes way beyond, race at this point, but we have a culture now, especially our young people. Young people are so engulfed in like entertainment, and social media is so popular, and it's so cumbersome, and it's so encompassing that a lot of people are getting attached to these personalities, and they aren't always good people, or sometimes they're just saying things just to get a check, just to further their career. And so a lot of times we just can't take what they're saying at face value. We have to look at their deeds and their actions over time, and if the values of their life actually reflect the things that they espouse to believe in.
Yeah, when Matthew I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they put some some movie star up to talk about a very serious public policy issue. And I'm going, why are we listening? I mean, this guy, the all right guy, like what? Why are we listening to him on something so complicated, such a complicated social and people would say to me, well, what do you disagree? What did he say that you disagree with? It doesn't matter. I just disagree that we're putting him up there like he knows something. That's ridiculous.
Like he's an expert.
Yeah. Why don't we ask Matthew Broderick what he thinks about truancy? He was in Ferris Bueller, so he's an expert. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's truly offensive. It's just absolutely asinine that they do that. I'm so glad that you call them out on that.
Yes, thank you.
Are you sure? Are you sure you're not a sister to Candace Owens?
No. I'm not a sister. to Candace Owens. I think we may have bumped into each other at an event.
But you guys kind of work from the same direction. Extremely intelligent. You know your topics, and I think the left is taking, your folks, the girls mainly, for granted, and they just ignore it. And I'm glad you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, something that I think is super important, like I said early on about us not being painted as a monolith.
Right.
I think that especially where I'm from, like what would be considered the deep South, and actually you have the biggest population of Black people, spanning across the South, is that you have these different varying degrees of conservative values.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of time we don't really talk about or take advantage of that. And I don't mean take advantage of that in a negative way, but I mean use that to spread principles of liberty, of freedom, of supporting and protecting the Constitution and all of these other things, and making it relatable to everyday people, regardless of demographic, regardless of religion, skin color, and things like this. Is some of those things that there's a commonality there.
Right.
It all comes back to actual value.
Right. Hey, do you have jewelry that you don't wear anymore? Maybe a watch that's just getting dusty, or maybe it doesn't even work. Well, what if you went to Leo Hamill's, sold it? You could use that cash to get a gun, take a pistol class that you've been talking about. Let's do it. When you sell your used jewelry or watches to Leo Hamill, not only do you get the best deal, you are also supporting a Second Amendment customer or owner. So one of the easiest ways to support Second Amendment is to support our partners like Leo Hamill. Give them a call at 619-299-1500. Or you can visit their showroom on San Diego Avenue and always get an awesome service at Leo's.
We're talking to YouTuber Rhonda Mary about all kinds of cool stuff, politics, and let's talk about guns, Rhonda. How'd you get into guns?
So, unfortunately, I was actually in a hit-and-run / road rage whole type of fiasco incident.
Jeez. I'm glad you're okay. Were you okay?
Yeah, I was okay. I think, I may have had like a little soreness in my neck or something like that, but overall I was okay. My car was kind of scratched up, but an irate driver he decided I wasn't driving fast enough for him, so he decided to try to push, me off the highway as I was driving.
Wow.
And at some point, we both pulled over, and he got out of his car and he walked up to my window and was just going crazy, just going at me. And I just remember in that moment, he was so close to me. I could see the ring around his eyes. He was like an older guy. And I just kept thinking, if something happens to me on the side of the road, like how would my family even know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And the responding officer was a young Black woman, and she ended up saying, she was like, where was your gun? You could have said you feared for your life. And I was like, what? And it was like a light bulb went off. And, it was just this thought, this idea that, first of all, we weren't there to save you. We were there to write the report. That's number one. Number two is this idea that you have way more autonomy than you've been allowed to believe that you actually have. Like, you get a say too. And wow. I mean, it's just like a light bulb went off, and a couple of weeks later, I went and got my first firearm, and I started learning like all of these things about firearms and the Second Amendment and the history, as it relates to like the Black community, and after slavery, going up into the civil rights and the significance that it played, and all these just different things I was learning. And I'm like, I got to tell other people about this.
What did you learn? Like, what's something that stood out that in particular that maybe surprised you or shocked you or horrified you?
Well, one thing that I didn't know is that guns played such a significant role in the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
I had no clue. It's only been painted as this, kumbaya, let's peace peaceful. Let's keep everything cordial. But when you actually start to look into it, you have people like Martin Luther King, who actually applied for his concealed carry permit, which he was denied from under a May issue state, may I add. And that was just basically overturned recently here as we see what's happening in New York. And now people are going to be able to conceal. And Clarence Thomas actually referenced a lot of this history in the ruling, you know, talking about how significantly black people had been, you know, kept the intention was to keep us from having arms, from being able to protect ourselves, particularly after slavery, going up into like the civil rights movements and things like this. And so just learning all of this was blowing my mind that many significant civil rights heroes actually were in support of black people having arms. And then you would have like, it was a backup organization to the NAACP. Their name is not coming to me right now, but they were actually their armed portion of the NAACP. But people don't even talk about that. Like this.
And how cool! I personally think it's enormously significant, and it's not getting talked about enough because he's not a darling of the left. But you know, Clarence Thomas is the grandson or great grandson of slaves.
Yes, grandson, I believe.
Grandson, and he wrote.
Grandson, I'm sorry.
He wrote the Supreme Court decision that just allowed people to carry. You know, they basically got rid of May issue states. I think that's enormously significant. I think it should be a huge source of pride for a lot of people, and I think it's amazing. I think it's really, really great. And no one's talking about it. No one's giving that credit.
No. If anything, they're going the other way.
Yeah, they are.
All the history, like, behind it, and how, I mean, just to know that is in the ruling, and now, I mean, that is a official part of history, whether people want to try to pretend it's not there and try to ignore it, like, it's stamped in history, and that just gives it another piece of validation.
But Rhonda,
in people's minds.
Rhonda, don't you kind of are a little puzzled why you never learned this in school?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I really can't even say puzzled because I'm smart enough to figure it out now that you don't want people knowing their rights. You don't want people having their rights. You don't want people to know that because it's too empowering. Right. Now you have people like me that I'm just out here. I'm just telling the news and sharing it and helping, motivating other people to become gun owners and to learn about the Second Amendment and learn about all of this rich history.
Well, the thing of it is, the side that doesn't want us to have guns, they were having enough trouble trying to keep the whites under control. And then you guys flared up. It's like, oh, my God, now we have to deal with this group of people. But it tells me that we're getting together as a unit. And they can't fight a group. There's just no way. And we get bigger and bigger and bigger. And once you really learn the true story, it'll just get bigger than they can handle. And that's the goal in my life.
Absolutely. That is absolutely the goal. And with everything we've seen over the last couple of years of them trying to steadily encroach on our freedoms, it's going to be more and more important for people to really understand what we're possibly up against and the reason why they wanted us to have this right in the first place.
What did you think of Joy Behar? Did you hear her? Her comment on The View, she said that they were
Are we really going to give her airtime?
Well, she said we were talking about changing gun laws.
Just say the lady on The View.
And she said that is when the gun laws will change in the U.S. once black people get guns. What were your thoughts on that? First off, did you hear that, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yes, so I did hear that, and I think it was funny that she was speaking over her black lady co-host and was trying to tell her opinion on guns. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there is some historical context to that We saw the Black Panthers go on the Capitol steps, and then we saw what happened in California with the gun control measures that soon followed. So there is a historical truth to what she was saying. However, people like Joy will sit there and say things like that, but they won't tell you. They'll tell you all about the past, but they won't tell you what's happening in real time. They will not tell you that after 2020, there were more new Black gun owners than any other demographic. Okay. Also, more women gun owners as a new demographic. They won't tell you that there are now, I believe, 25 to 26 red states that are constitutional carry states. And when we look at a lot of these states, like I said, particularly the southern states, they have some of the biggest Black populations. And then, of course, even I haven't seen the segment, I don't even know if they've covered it, of what recently happened when Clarence Thomas and the rest of the Supreme Court justices were like, nah, we're not going for that. Gun control is racist. We're not feeling it. We're not doing it. And this is our ruling. So they're going to ignore these things that happen in real time because they want to live in the racist past. And if people like Joy Behar think that it's so racist because, as soon as more Black people get guns, they're going to, you'll see more gun control. Well, Joy Behar, why would you want to stand on the side of those people? That's the real question we need to be asking.
Good for you. I mean, are people? First off, is this our Second Amendment? Is that kind of is that your main political topic, or what are some other hot button items that you talk about?
Oh my goodness, I talk about everything. I talk about music. I talk about entertainment. Recently, my Twitter has been on fire because I've been talking about the whole abortion thing here recently. So I pretty much cover it all. As far as my Instagram, I have two. I have a main one that mostly focuses on Second Amendment. Is Rhonda_Mary over at Instagram.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Just because I've been able to see a lot of growth in that area when I just specifically, honed in on that. But I also have Rhonda Mary Vids, which I talk about, everything. I talk about health and wellness and finances and all of these kind of aspects that make, honestly, our communities better, that we've been taught, these things are not that big of a deal. Or let me find this fire tweet so I can read y'all this tweet that I put today. I said, this is a tweet. My Twitter is I am Rhonda Mary. I said, I just had it. I'm sorry.
Don't you hate that?
Yes.
Here, I thought you were a computer whiz.
I try to be.
No, you don't.
It doesn't always.
Don't you hate that? I swear. And it's not you. It's everybody. Yeah. If I tell Mike to look something up,
then I won't be able to
that he sent me 3 minutes ago, he'll never find it.
If I don't need it, it'll be right there in front of me.
I know. So what's your future? What do you got planned? Politics?
Yeah, you going to run for office?
Everybody keeps asking me, am I going to
There's a reason.
Oh gosh, I just don't think I'm up to run for office, but I'm just gonna keep educating people, just trying to reach people. There is something to the representation matters. It's absolutely a thing. When we saw, in the 90s where they took college and made it urban culture, you absolutely saw an explosion of college and, college degrees and stuff like that. Yeah. So that is a thing. I just want to keep focusing on that.
Hey, stay in touch with us. We'd like to see, chat with you down the road to see how what the trail provides.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Man, do you wish cleaning your gun was easier? Well,
yes.
I bet you did, you and your washing machine. Clean, lube, and protect your gun with Seal One. Seal One CLP Plus is natural, non-toxic, environmentally friendly. You can clean your gun easier, faster. You'll also smell better. I'm not going to talk about the wives, but hey, one and done Seal One. Ask for it by name at your local gun shop or get some on the website, seal1.com. That's seal1.com. All right. Melissa Lee is on the deck.
Hello, gentlemen.
Wait a minute.
Is this on?
Have you got her turned on there?
Why does that mic not work?
Now try it.
Say test.
Test.
Now it works.
Now it works. Okay. Well, hello.
Hello.
Hi. It's been a long time.
Yeah, what do you got for us today?
So something really exciting. One of my favorite concealed carry leggings companies called Alexo Athletica teamed up with Springfield Armory. So they did a collaboration on the clothing for special concealed carry clothing.
Wow.
So it's amazing. I have here on the radio with me Amy Robbins, the founder, CEO of Alexo Athletica, to talk about her new line with Springfield Armory. You there?
Hello, everybody. Great to be with you again.
Hi. It's so nice to hear your voice again.
I know, you too.
So tell me about this collaboration. How did this come about? Because this jacket that you sent me and these leggings are amazing.
Thank you so much. We worked really hard. So when we launched our company in 2017, and you would have told me that we would be working with one of the top 5 gun manufacturers, like a Springfield Armory, I don't know if I would have believed you. But here we are. We're about to celebrate our 5-year anniversary. And Springfield came to us about 2 years ago to start conversations where they saw a vision of kind of where they were going with the consumer market of smaller compact pistols, like with the Hellcat. And they really wanted to reach that concealed carry consumer market. And so they came to us and said, hey, we really would love to team up and do not just an athletic wear line, but a ready wear line for men and for women. And that's exactly, we said, let's do it. We didn't even have to think twice about it. And we started working on it. And it was about a 1.5 year process before we got it to market.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm really glad that you did the men's line too. So Rich is dying to get a hold of their leggings for the men's line.
Well, I'll have to send you some stuff for the guys there at the radio station. Yeah, the men's line has been something that has been in the works for Alexo for a couple of years, and we actually launched our men's. We launched with some joggers and some amazing shorts about a year ago, like right before the Springfield line. And they said, look, we would love to expand this idea of people conceal carrying while they work out. So we have workout pieces in the men's and women's line. And then we also have just everyday lifestyle pieces that round out and complement the concealed carry pieces as well. So you'll find everything from performance jackets to stretch flannel shirts for the guys and concealed carry joggers. It's a really amazing, well-rounded lifestyle line.
What I love about this jacket is it's thin. It's got the thumb holes, the reflective striping on the shoulders here, so that if it's like low light, jogging at night or whatever. I don't jog, people. I don't jog. I don't even jog for my life. That's why I shoot guns. But it looks good. And the extra pocket in the back. So there's 3 pockets, 2 in the front and 1 in the back. I really like that. And this pattern. This is like a snake, almost like snakeskin hex. It's really neat. I really like this one. So my friend Karen Hunter had this one too, and I'm like, I need that. So
I'll tell you, it's our number 1 selling pattern right now for the men's and the women's line. People absolutely loved it. It was a special designed camo that we designed and created specifically and exclusively for the Springfield line. So you can only get it with the Springfield line, and it's been our top seller. People, the men and women, have been loving it. And I'm so glad that you say that, because honestly, we put so much attention to every single detail. This line just embodies comfort. It's premium materials. It is premium fits. We spent a lot of time, 1.5 years, perfecting the fits of everything to try to make concealed carry as simple and comfortable as possible, and then have the pieces that you need to conceal with it. Because that's kind of another hard piece about concealed carrying. Is like you may have a great legging or a bottom that conceals, but if you don't have the right tops with it, it makes it very difficult to conceal. So we thought about all of that, and we made these complementary pieces that are either looser around the midsection and long enough. Even the performance jackets, the one you're talking about, is longer than like a normal athletic wear jacket, because if you were to raise your arms, it would reduce the printing. So we thought about all these details when we did this line. So I'm so glad that you love it.
So,
Yeah.
so Amy, let me throw one. This is Dave. Are there any Easter eggs in this jacket?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. There's so many pockets that.
No. Have you ever noticed car manufacturers do it all the time? They'll build a car, and then they'll put what they call Easter eggs, which are little messages in and around the car. You just have to look for them to find it. And looking at this pattern, it just made me think that somebody's put an Easter egg in this pattern. Either the gun manufacturer or you or somebody. Tell the truth. Are there any in there that you know of?
You're going to have to buy one.
You're so bad.
So I want to talk about the leggings now. So the leggings that you sent me are really cool. They're comfortable. So I'm wearing I'm a big girl, so I
See, now that doesn't look like leggings because, I mean, they're not skin tight.
They're like joggers.
Yeah.
But I'm a big girl, so I got the double XL that fits me perfectly. However, the length is a little too long for me because I'm short too. So, but I will get those hemmed. It's not a big deal. But I want to show you guys. Apparently, it's supposed to be like this. If I'm pulling my leg up right now, like all the extra material. So it should be like this. It should look like this on the leg.
No, that's good. Those are good sleeping pants because they'll keep your feet warm.
It is. I can sleep with my gun on me. So let me show you like what the concealed carrying looks like. So right now I'm carrying my
that's a banana.
I didn't do the banana today, Dave.
You should.
Usually I do a banana, but it's buried so deep in this is nice deep pockets for the gun to sit in. This is my Shield 9.
Can you feel it?
No, and it's tight in there. Like the elastic that she uses in all of her leggings are super tight. So I do not have the Springfield sticky holster that it usually comes with. You know what I mean? So I've seen before. So what I did is I just used like a hard credit card type thing. I just actually used my tack rig metal. I don't know what this is. It's like
for trigger protection.
Yeah, for trigger protection. Yeah. So I put something in there for that. But I really like the Springfield hard sticky holster that you usually have with it. So I need to order that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm so glad you brought that up because so essentially with all of our bottoms, you have what we like to, the best way to describe it would be like a belly band integrated into the actual garment, but they're to me more comfortable than a belly band. I've tried every belly band on the market and they just didn't feel well or they didn't stay put. And so this actually just makes it a lot easier, but because it is fabric, we do recommend that you put your trigger guard of choice. And we actually designed with Springfield and with DeSantis what you're talking about. It's called the Flex Tech Pocket Holster. And it fits in, if you buy one of them, it will fit in all of your Alexo products. And it essentially has a rubberized outer material on it that's going to adhere and stick to the fabric. So kind of like a sticky holster. Right. And then it has double-sided trigger protection. So it reduces the bulk without having to carry a big, bulky Kydex holster in the carry pocket. You can if you want to, but if you don't want to have to mess with that, you can just get the DeSantis Pocket Flex Tech Pocket Holster, and it will provide retention and trigger protection for you. It's a great solution.
Another feature of this that's genius is you can tuck your shirts in. It has this like extra pocket right here in the front here. And you can actually just, do a little tuck if, like women like to do a little tuck. Or men, you can tuck in your shirts if you want to and make it baggy. I don't know if I can't see myself if I'm hiding it very well. But you can tuck in your shirts and it's seamless. You can still tuck in. You can still draw easily from it. You can still hide, your gun. I have extra accessories. I have an extra mag on the other side. I have a knife. And then on the back, there's 2 extra pockets. So there's one on the right, one on the left, in the front, and the back side as well. So there's a lot of room, a lot of pockets in the front here, one in the back. There's one in the back. And excellent design because that tuckable part, when I see you in those pants, when you tuck your shirt in, it looks amazing. It looks like I can't see anything at all.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the whole idea behind it. Finding pants and ways to tuck in your shirt was just really hard with concealed carry. So this solves that issue. But for women, like when we do a half tuck, you actually can blouse the shirt a little bit, and then it makes it a little baggier. So, I mean, I actually wore the tuck and carry joggers today as well to the movie theater, and I had my shield, and that's a pretty big gun on my body. And if I just had like a thin shirt on, it would print pretty bad. But when you tuck your shirt in and you kind of blouse it out a little bit, you can't see the gun at all. So it creates that illusion that you need just a little bit extra distraction so that you can't actually see the gun printing at all. So
excellent design. How much does it retail for the pants?
So for the tuck and carry joggers, I believe those are $79, the Springfield joggers. And then the leggings range between $99 and $109 depending on the style.
And then the jacket's $99, correct?
I think so. Yep. Man, I should have those prices pulled up.
Well, tell everybody where they can get these leggings and the jacket and the Springfield line.
Yeah, so the Springfield collection and our regular Alexo line are all sold exclusively on the Alexo website. So right now, that's www.alexoathletica.com. You will see the Springfield option in the drop-down menu, and you can shop it right there. We've got men's and women's available right now, and you cannot get it at retailers, and it is not available on the Springfield site at this moment. So you've got to get it exclusively from alexoathletica.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Amy. I loved having you on.
Well, you know, a lot of companies are so frustrated with their websites. Yeah, it looks good. It's out of date. And it's not even getting customers. Well, Sage Tree, they totally get it. Since 2005, Sage Tree has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. Stop being frustrated by your website and get one that you're proud to share. Contact Sage Tree today to get websites that make the phone ring. Getting started is super easy. 866-728-9100. That's 866-728-9100. 9100.
So
let's fix your website today.
Let's fix your website today with Sage Street. So Harbor Patrol is watching on YouTube, and he said he's going to go check his car for Easter eggs after you brought it up. You know the origin
They're out there.
You know what? You know where that came from? Easter eggs. Where that originated?
No, but I bet you can tell me.
I can tell you. I just found out fairly recently. So the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes, which I've seen.
Yeah. Well, apparently while they were filming it, they actually it was Easter, and they did an Easter egg hunt, and then they didn't find all the eggs. So now in the movie, one of the things to do when you're watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show is to find the Easter eggs.
But you know where I think how much farther it went back than that?
No.
Alfred Hitchcock.
What do you mean?
Well, every movie he ever directed, he was in there. And
he was right,
and he would be considered an Easter egg theoretically.
Right, but they didn't call it that.
No.
They didn't call it that till Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's when they started calling it looking for Easter eggs. So when you watch a show or buy a car, apparently, you look for Easter eggs. That's a.
Well, I was
Rocky
surprised the
Horror
car
Picture
manufacturers started calling him that. I'm going, well, what do you call it?
Well, it's kind of it's a popular thing.
Yeah, so they must have really loved that movie.
It's hip. Young hip kids like
is that
myself.
What it is?
Yeah, right. Be able to.
So
we were talking about.
We're kind of happy. We're happy with one part of it. You knew California was going to figure out a way to try to throw enough mud on it to make it not worthwhile, but that didn't work.
No, so the decision, I'm extremely happy.
Yes, so am I.
It's way better.
They're not, but we are.
Right. It's way better than Heller. It's way better than the Heller decision. The Heller decision said, all right, well, here's the test. It's got to be commonly owned. You know, a gun has to be commonly owned. And then, you know, it was a little convoluted, to be honest with you. People were really excited about Scalia's decision. I wasn't as excited about it. And there are a lot of people in the Second Amendment community that kind of would whisper like, nah, it could have been better.
Right. Well, everything could have been better. We're lucky we got what we got. But let me be the dummy in the room, okay? Right. So what the Supreme Court did was allow me as a potential gun owner or as a gun owner, what?
So it allowed you to get a permit to carry concealed outside of your home.
Right.
Without any subjectivity.
Okay, but you're still going to have the background check.
Exactly.
They're still going to sit on your gun for 10 days while they do your background check?
No, not necessarily. Now, that's another thing that no one's really talking about except for me and John Dillon.
me.
It was pretty clear to me that the background check also has to be objective, not subjective. And what that means
And what does
is,
that mean? Yeah.
So right now they do this really thorough background check, but rather than just check, okay, is this person a prohibited person or are they not a prohibited person? Cannot own a gun.
Okay, so let me simplify it for the listeners.
Yep.
If I walk in to a gun shop
Yep.
in a 3-piece suit and a tie
Yeah.
and buy a gun and do the background check, I'm probably going to get it within 10 days. Probably no problem. But if you go in and you got tattoos and chains and a beard, maybe with alcohol on your breath, I don't know. Could that slow it down?
No. Okay, so right now, if you go in and buy a gun, they check the federal database, the NICS system,
To see if you're in there.
and you're either thumbs up or thumbs down.
It has nothing to do with how you look.
Nope. It's either you're a felon or you're not a felon.
Okay.
There are a couple other ways to be a prohibited person, like if you were dishonorably discharged from the military. But in essence,
But it's all going to come off of data.
right. What it's just, and it takes seconds. The 10-day wait period, it has nothing to do with background checks. The 10-day wait period is just a cooling off period.
Oh, that's right, because they've got that data
Right.
almost immediately.
So if you go to another state, if you go to Texas or, I don't know, other states like Arizona,
Yeah.
and you say, all right, I need to buy a gun. You fill out the form and you
They
take the
run it.
It's an instant background check.
And then you buy your gun and walk out.
Well, exactly. So,
But we don't have that here.
well, we do, but there's an additional layer of background check.
Right. From the state of California.
For example, at the very beginning, when Gore changed the policy, there was a guy who applied for a CCW and it was denied. And the reason he was denied is that a friend of his was being investigated and he was not cooperative with the investigation. He's not a prohibited person.
No.
He's never been convicted of anything.
No.
If you ask me, that's subjective. That's not.
Yeah.
And it's pretty clear to me that this decision basically says no more of that.
Oh, well, that's good, because who's going to watch over the people watching over?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
So-
okay, so we got that.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit more about red flag laws.
Sure.
Because couldn't that be the same thing? In other words, if I'm mad at you for whatever, and I call up and said, hey, he brandished his gun, because I know you have a gun. He brandished his gun in anger at me. And they come down and they automatically will take your gun away and arrest you, most likely.
Right.
Okay. That's what we're
maybe not arrest you. Probably take
depending
your
on
gun
your
away.
how
Yeah.
you handle it.
Right.
If you come after him, you're going to jail. If you're not, but would you surrender your gun?
You wouldn't have a choice.
Okay.
You wouldn't have a choice. You'd have to. Honestly, that's something I fear because
That's my fear too.
well, I'm on TV and whatever.
I know you're
I'm
talented. And you've got looks.
good looking,
I-
fun to be around.
Well, I know.
Let's keep going. This is a great segment. so far.
Multiple weapons. But no, because these are these are the questions I've been getting.
But my fear, honestly, walking around town, is that some anti-gun jerk is going to say, "Oh, that's
Michael
the
Schwartz.
guy.
Yeah.
I know he's carrying, so I'm going to do some kind of false accusation against him."
Which, yeah,
And thanks to, I probably just gave some anti-gun people an idea right there. They're not.
I've thought that the second you said
They're not
it.
real smart, so
I know.
maybe I
Now
might
they
have
won't
just,
figure it out.
But with gun violence restraining orders, that world is possible. That they can. Hey, here's some lame accusation. Now go take his gun.
But so wouldn't this be the time to join one of those lawyer groups that for like $10 a month they'll take care of you, in case you do get,
Well, yeah, but I think what's more important is that we have to stand up and say, hey, look, these red flag laws, forget it.
Well, I know, but we
know?
can't do that because in California that's gonna pass with flying colors.
It has passed, but yeah.
Well, okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
So now you got to protect yourself even more
Yes.
than with a gun.
Yes.
And don't we have a new company coming in? What is it called again?
No,
USCCA.
Yeah.
They're coming on board. They like what we do. They really think Michael's cute. But they're the company that you're going to want to partner with, so that if you do get somebody accuses you of something that you know is not true,
Red flag laws.
Throw that at
A
them.
Gun violence restraining order.
boy, they're going to have to hire some lawyers.
But it's just amazing to me, and the Democrats are all for red flag laws and gun violence restraining orders, and the Republicans are almost there. They're almost for him as well. We don't have a friend in this fight.
I think no, you correct me if I'm wrong because you're way smarter politically than I am. I think the Republicans that are going for it are trying to protect their side of the party that may be against guns. In other words, instead of being a true Republican and saying, no, this goes against all our rights, they're fudging a little bit. I guess that's where Rhino comes in, maybe.
I think what it is that the Republicans are master compromisers.
Yes.
They never stand as hard as they should on principle. So they kind of think to themselves, well, this isn't so bad.
I'll give them a little
Let's
bit.
just give them this and they'll stop. And they're wrong. And they need to start standing on principle and have a backbone.
Well, hey, Rifle Supply in Orange County. What? Yeah, Rifle Supply is Orange County Gun Owners Gun Shop of the Year. Fantastic. Congratulations. Well, what does it take for a gun shop to succeed in an incredibly anti-gun state? We're going to talk about that with Justin Baca next. But first, did you know we have a world-class flight training school here in San Diego? Pilots can fly almost every day. We're close to the ocean, desert, and even the mountains. And we're right next to an international border and a major military base. That's why San Diego is one of the best places to learn how to fly in the world. Learn to fly in the heart of San Diego, right at Montgomery Field. You can get started easy. Just give them a call at 858-569-1822 or learn to fly with SDFTI. Or you can call them at 858-569-1822.
So we had our Orange County Gun Owners dinner just a couple months ago, and there was the Shop of the Year awarded to the gun shop in Orange County that did the most to support the Second Amendment that year. And we were very, very proud to present that award to Rifle Supply.
Yeah, that was really cool. Hey, Justin, I got to ask you a question. Do you have anybody in your family that races at Paris Auto Speedway?
I do not, actually.
Because we had a Baca win the division last night, and so we were giving him all kinds of accolades. And, you know, Baca's, I'm sure, not the most popular name, and I just was wondering if there was a relationship.
Not in California. No, not in California. In New Mexico, Colorado, there's plenty of us, but not that many here in California.
All right.
There you go.
Well, back to congratulations.
Well, welcome and congratulations, Justin. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Little tired. It's been a busy week with all the new things that are happening on July 1st, but I'm making it through.
Nice. Well, congratulations on winning Shop of the Year. You guys earned it. I just really truly brag about your shop all the time. I think you guys are great. I think your products are great, and your customer service and employees are absolutely fantastic. And you are so supportive and have been supportive from day one. And I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much. It was a huge honor for us to receive that, and it was a huge surprise. We just went there to support, and we were totally taken back. So thank you again to you guys.
So tell everybody, I know what makes you guys different in a very good way, but why don't you tell everybody what makes you guys different? What sets you guys apart from all the other gun shops?
So Rifle Supply was built with the one sole purpose. It wasn't just guns. It was great customer service. So having a welcoming environment for people. We actually joke about it, John and I, that he opened a gun store because he hated going into gun stores. Just the attitude that you get and the feeling of, I don't know, being an outsider if you don't know the name of one part or the name of this gun or what you're looking for. So that's kind of where it all started, was providing great customer service and a welcoming environment for people that wanted to get into the sport or fix up their gun or fix their gun or anything that has to do with the Second Amendment, basically. So that's where it started, and it's just kind of grown from there over the last 5 years to where we laser engrave, we Cerakote, we're a manufacturer, we sell guns, we ship nationwide. So yeah, that's kind of helped us out with our success, is just the multiple avenue streams that we have. So it's been going great. 27 employees now. And
wow, I didn't realize that. Holy cow, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys are a huge success story. And you know, a lot of emphasis on ARs, but you're not just an AR shop. I know you make ARs, you sell AR parts, you customize ARs, but you know, pistol, rifle, shotgun, you guys, the whole thing, right?
Yeah, everything. I mean, one of the nicest reviews that we've got is actually one of our most current Yelp reviews from a lady that came in, was referred to us, came in by herself and bought her first gun and wrote a Yelp review about her experience. We don't ever solicit these Yelp reviews because it's really a double-edged sword. But she wrote this nicest review, and it's just really cool when people can come in for the first time, not with anybody that knows about guns, and buy a Smith & Wesson 4.42 for protection, or get a Glock. But yeah, we do pretty much everything. It's not just rifles, even though that's what's in our name.
Well, I liked at the dinner in Orange County, at Gun Prom in Orange County. Wendy was talking about our women's program, and she was telling the story of, how it was developed. And she said, hey, sometimes she'd walk into gun shops and, they wouldn't pay attention to her. They'd be rude to her. And you piped up right in the middle and said, not at Rifle Supply. And everybody at your table cheered. I thought it was great.
Yeah, we take huge pride in that. Like, that's our biggest point of pride is how we treat people. You can come in and get a water, get a coffee. You can hang out. You can listen to other people. If you don't feel comfortable walking up, you can walk up and talk to any of our associates. But that's really key, is just everybody feeling comfortable. That's how we get more people to support the Second Amendment that we love and that's being bashed here in California, is you bring more people into it. You don't exclude them because they don't know something, Well,
what's your story? How'd you get into guns, man?
Not raised around them, actually. My parents weren't into them. Started shooting actually with John when I was about 20 years old. We've known each other. We graduated high school. John's the owner of Rifle Supply, and it just kind of went from there. I had my career, and then I made my way full circle. And he wanted to build the brand, and we just kind of took it and ran. But it always had that main focus. But
what were you doing prior? Do you mind my asking? What were you doing prior?
I was in finance, so I was a corporate professional. So I was a suit and tie guy every day. I did corporate sales. I did asset management. I did real estate. I did lots of things in the sales realm. So that's kind of why we've built that front end. Sales and marketing is kind of the thing I love.
Yeah.
And so, it just kind of went from there.
Well, I like your social media too. You guys are hilarious, and you guys are funny you're funny in an informative and cool way. I don't know if that makes sense, but if I had to sum it up, I'd say that's exactly what you guys nail it on social media.
Yeah, I've ever since, man, when we were hanging out at the gun show in San Diego, when I was supposed to be that first time, I was still doing all the social media. So Raul does all of my social media now. He ran a big page before, and man, he kills it. That's kind of who we are, right? We're always family, and we want to have fun and have a good time. And all of our employees look different, but when you clock in, it's professional, and we have a good time. So it's one of those things where you don't have to look like an operator to work at our store. You don't have to be an old grumpy guy to work at our store. You can be a young guy who knows about guns and is great with people, and that's kind of what Raul reflects in all of our social media. So it is a lot of fun.
It's almost, honestly, what you're saying, Justin, about, you don't have to be an operator. It's almost, it's refreshing. Now, look, these guys that are operators, people that have real military backgrounds and they were actually, doing something high speed in the military are awesome. But I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that. I'm probably never going to invade a country. It's kind of refreshing sometimes when I hear from the everyday guy, like, hey, I'm just a normal guy. I protect my house and myself and have a little fun at the range. And here's what I like.
Yep. And that's really it. I mean, the nicest, not the best thing, but a nice thing that our employees can say is, yeah, I don't know. Let me check on that.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of making some answer that may or may not be right, or just pushing you towards what they're used to. I've always pushed to them that it's okay to say, I don't know, and then just learn,
Now, how many locations do you have?
Just one right now. We are, we're pushing out. I know you've been bugging me for a spot in San Diego. I did just kind of look at a spot over in Corona. Yeah. And then we're going to try and make our way down south. Our plan was going to be in the San Clemente-ish area down there, right before the Gap, before Pendleton. Mm-hmm. And then we'd like to get to 3 to 5 stores. We're kind of just waiting for everything that's happening in July 1st, right? So the kits are going away, and things like that. And that we've sold plenty of kits for a long time. So we want to see how this plays all out.
Tell people what you mean. Go into that a little bit more. Talk to folks about July 1st and kits and what you mean by that.
So July 1st in California, I will not be able to sell you a kit, a polymer 80. So let's just go with a 80% build kit or 80% frame or receiver, I can't sell you that post July 1st without running it through the DROS system. And I'm saying that in quotes. It's an eligibility check, kind of like what we got with the ammo. They don't track how many we have. They're not really looking too much into it, but they are checking if you are eligible to own a firearm. Make sure you're not a prohibited person. So not that we would knowingly sell to criminals or anything, but we're selling them just a chunk of plastic or an unmilled receiver. Well, that will go away now. You'll still be able to buy them, everything like that. So that's one caveat. The next one is August 24th is the ATF ruling for what a gun is. Now, if you sell an 80% receiver or frame along with the jig together in the same box, that is now considered a firearm in the United States of America.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's pretty ridiculous, right? Because it's just a chunk of plastic or just a piece of metal. You do what you want with that, right? If you want to take your car and drive it off a cliff or ram it into anywhere else that you want to, it's not the car's fault. It's the person driving it and their intention. So they're taking a totally inanimate object and one at this point that is not even fully completed, and they're calling it a full gun. So here's the big thing about us, Mike. We've always not focused around the things that are wrong. We've figured out how to pivot and be agile and what the next steps on the business would be. That's why we've been successful, because we're not focusing on just the negative. We're focusing on how to still grow our business and provide service to everybody that wants stuff. So anybody can come into the shop, write us on Instagram, anything like that. If they have questions on this July 1st and August 24th deadline stuff, it is very confusing, just so everybody knows.
What's your address?
Our address at the shop is 16291 Gothard, and that's in Huntington Beach, 92647.
All right. Well, they can probably Google you and then get the map.
Or shoot, man, just come to a San Diego County gun owner, an Orange County gun owners meeting. We're always talking about rifle supply at the meetings. You go. You guys are like the most popular girl in school, man. You guys are great.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the support from you guys, and it's really helped us to grow and us to contribute to this 2A fight going on in the state.
Well, now, what do you think about it? Actually, we're gonna have you for one more segment, and we're about to go into a little commercial break. But when we get back, Justin, I want to talk a little bit more about, you guys are a great shop and you have a great product and great customer service, but I want to get into what you guys think about California and gun laws and what happened in the Supreme Court and all that other stuff. I know you have a lot of opinions on it, so when we come back from the break, let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, you won't have to study for this one. PRMI Mortgage, folks, primeres.com/Alpine. If you're looking to buy or refi, or if you're considering a reverse mortgage, you need to call our local mortgage guy that can definitely you can trust. That's Chris Wiley at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. They make it easy. Work with a friendly expert team that will help you get the best deal or mortgage. Call Chris Wiley, 619-722-1303, or just go to primeres.com/Alpine.
We're talking with Justin from Rifle Supply, one of the best gun shops in Orange County. Big fan, and of course, winner of the Gun Shop of the Year award from Orange County Gun Owners. Justin, are you born and raised in California?
Yep, born and raised in Orange County.
Nice. So, what are your thoughts on the gun laws in general in California, or maybe more specifically, like, why do you think it's like this in California? Why is it so bad?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's going into the political realm. It's about as frustrating as it gets, I guess, when you've seen the progression over the last 20 years. The funny part is, I don't know, just for instance, bullet buttons, right? So we had bullet buttons, and then they got rid of bullet buttons, and you had to register it as an AR, but then they threw that in at the end that you still had to have a bullet button. So a lot of people didn't register their guns, obviously, and they thought it would make it, in quotes, safer, when now I just have to have a paddle, and I can have a free magazine release, and I can technically run a standard capacity magazine, opposed to having a bullet button, which is, for me personally, easier, right? I don't think any of these laws are correct, right? Let's not mix that up at all. But we work with what we have, and it's like I said, we've really focused on what we do have and preserving that and building our business around that. And that's kind of, I don't really even look at how bad they are anymore because it's not going to help me in my day to day.
Well, you know, Justin, I was talking to Michael earlier, and I said these laws, when they're getting ready to put them together, they only think out 5 feet, or they should think out 20 feet, but they never do. And that extra 10 feet or 15 feet causes just havoc for anybody and everybody.
Yeah, it really does. Well, I think the main part of it isn't even so much on how many feet they're looking out. It's the fact that they don't employ anybody that actually knows anything about guns.
There you go. Yeah, that's true.
Well, and I really like the positive attitude, Justin. I think that's awesome. I try to look at the positive, and honestly, I think that I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a train. Yep. I think that gun ownership today is better than it was a year ago, and a year ago it was better than it was 5 years prior. Orange County in particular is a huge CCW success story. Couldn't get one. I'm going to say 7-8 years ago. It was really, really difficult to get one.
That's when I got
right around that time when they opened it up. Now I think you guys are in like 25,000 range, something like that.
Yeah, it's a huge amount. I got mine whenever that San Diego court case came down. I was within the first 200 or 300 people to apply. I still had to wait 7 months, but on my very first application, my reason was my Second Amendment rights. Ever since then, it changed.
Yeah.
But it is a good thing, and hopefully Orange County will uphold what the Supreme Court ruled. We're going to have to wait and see. But I talked to a guy today. I was out at a marketing show, and he was a little reluctant to put in his CCW application because of how long it was going to take. And I said, look, it doesn't matter if it takes a year or it takes a month. You need that application in as soon as possible, so at least you can get in line, to get one.
If he'd have done it a year ago, you'd have it by now.
Correct. And now you wouldn't even need a reason. They would just push it right through, which is what they should do. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. But like I said, we try and focus on the positive and what we do have and work towards. That's why we work with you and your guys' organization, work towards getting more of them back. The tough part I have about it is it's tough to come back from the law, right? It's easy for them to put it in place, and it's really tough to get it reversed. And that's what people have to understand is if they don't read the bill they're voting for all the way through, and we accidentally get some crap thing through. Oh, just like every time we add a gun to the roster, we have to remove 3. Right. They threw that into some weird looking bill. The people need to read it because undoing that, it's almost, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's years and years of work. So people just have to pay attention,
How much do your customers, you guys have a really good relationship with your customers. How much do they talk about politics and the gun laws and, how much feedback do you get from them?
We get plenty. I am not on the floor as much anymore as we've grown, but when I was on the floor, it was a lot of venting about what was going on. We try to engage with them to let them know exactly what's right and wrong and what side of the line they need to stay on. But we don't engage in the whole argument part of the back and forth and things like that, right? I don't think any of us agree that I don't think any of us agree that we want to give criminals more guns, right? But the main fact is they're going to get them whether or not we agree to give them or not, and we need to have the ability to defend ourselves. So when it comes to political stuff, we engage with people, but we have people from all walks of life. We have gay, straight, man, woman, whoever, it doesn't matter in there. And so what we want to do is we want to have a welcoming environment. So we try not to bash or any one side or anything like that. We kind of, we stay in our lane and we support the Second Amendment and the Constitution. That's really what we believe in.
That's awesome. What did you think of the, were you surprised by the decision?
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. I hadn't been following it as much as I should have, and when it popped up, I mean, it's great for people. They just need to go out and execute on it now, though. We're firm believers also in armed society is a polite society, and the more people that we have that are carrying concealed that are responsible, I think the safer the communities are everywhere.
I agree. I think it's not just there's a lot of facts.
That was my slogan.
Yeah, there's a lot of facts to support it. There's a lot of facts to support it.
Yeah, there is. And I mean, I have a house in Arizona personally also, so I go out there quite a bit, and you can open carry out there. When I walk into a restaurant, if there's 2 other people that are open carrying, I don't know how many people are concealed carrying. What are the odds that somebody's going to come in there and try to commit a violent act? Mm-hmm. It's lower than if they know it's a gun-free zone. You know, I mean, it seems very common sense. I don't know how. I'm unsure of how people legitimize the bills that they're passing as safer. It's very odd to me, but I don't want to go onto the bashing realm, or the negativity. But yeah, it's very confusing to me.
Well, what do you want to see more of in the gun community, especially in Southern California, or maybe just specifically Orange County?
Oh man, you really put me on the spot with that one. That's not fair.
He's writing this all down too.
I don't know. Like I think maybe a little bit more of a discussion than putting you on the spot. But I just want to see gun owners. You know, gun owners are so splintered, and we're all so independent. We're also, strong-minded, and I would love to see gun owners get together and work together, and all across the board, whether it's maybe you're a shotgun guy or a pistol guy or a rifle guy, get together. The shops, get together. The organizations get together. We just don't have the
camaraderie.
We need more camaraderie. I think that's what it is.
Well, I agree with you. They do separate a lot. I was out in Pittsburgh with my wife's family, and we went sporting clay shooting, and I had an absolute blast. But I understand what you're saying. It does make sense. Your pistol shooters and your long range shooters may not match up with your sporting clay shooters and your skeet shooters and stuff like that. When you posed the question, where my mind went straight to was kind of breaking down the party lines, right? That's why we're pro-Constitution. That doesn't mean left. That doesn't mean right. We're pro-Constitution. So I think if we can put that aside and go, hey guys, we have a bunch of Republicans in this room, but if you're left, but you're pro 2A, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's that welcoming feeling that we've always tried to get in the shop that I think the whole shooting community, gun community, Second Amendment community needs. Even if they don't, I know a lot of people that come into the shop that don't want to own a gun. They're there with somebody else. They don't want to own a gun, but they support the Second Amendment. Those are all the people that we need to bring together, because then then our numbers go up significantly. Then we can really make a difference. But we can't do anything to fight the closet people, right? The people that are pro-gun but don't want people to know. There's not a lot we can do about it, but what we can do is make everybody feel welcome in this part of the Constitution and this amendment that we love and that we feel can help protect us. We need to make everybody feel comfortable. And if we do that, I think more people will hop on that train and go, yeah, I'm comfortable here. I came in not knowing anything. I'm this race or this orientation or whatever it is, but I'm comfortable in this room. Those people will support the cause. And I think that's key.
I think it's absolutely right. And I think that what you just said fits your shop's personality really, really well. That's exactly I think it's which is kind of why I brought it up. I think that you guys are leaders when it comes to camaraderie and cooperation in the Second Amendment world. And I really appreciate it. I've always respected that from day one when we met down at the gun show. I've always respected that about you. So let's talk about you guys just had a couple custom guns on the cover of a magazine, right? You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we had UN12, who we've developed a real close relationship with. We had a custom Smith & Wesson and an AR pistol that were on the cover there, all Cerakoted in-house, laser engraved in-house, all that jazz. So that's real great for marketing and such. Cerakoting is something we want to get into everywhere. We have a separate department that just does Cerakoting in-house, and that's something we're trying to push and get out to more people, because not everybody wants to shoot an all-black gun. Maybe somebody wants a white gun or a pink gun or a camo gun, things like that. So that we call it the adult Lego set, right? That really what an AR-15 is. You can mix and match and replace. So that's kind of something that's gone into our marketing and those magazine covers and things like that is getting the Cerakote and the customization out there. So it was real good for us. It's great for business, and it's fun for the whole shop.
What's the most popular mod that people come in, or most popular custom job, or what are people doing to their guns these days?
Red dots. Yeah. So we have a local shop that cuts our dots for all the Glocks, and that's really the biggest. That's probably the biggest one that we have right now, which I didn't hop on board the red dots for a while, and now I love them. That's really fun. And we do a lot of AR stuff also because we have such a large accessory wall. People come in to fix up their ARs piece at a time, or sometimes they drop a bunch of money. But the cool thing about it is you can do one piece at a time and just upgrade it and find out what you like. But really, Glocks are really the most heavily modified because it's real easy. There's lots of parts, a lot of cool things you can do to them to make them shoot a little bit better.
Do you do, excuse me, from speaking for my cousin, do you do etching?
We do. Yeah, so the like Sicario type guns where you're talking with the nickel plating and the gold and that really, really intricate hand done stuff, we don't do.
Right.
But we do laser engraving on our magazines, on lowers. If you want to custom, something custom to Glock, we do all that stuff.
All right, cool. Hey, man, it's great having you on.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations again, and I'm sure you'll be on down the road.
What's your website?
Website is just riflesupply.com. Real nice and easy.
Thanks,
Nice
man.
and easy. All right. Thank you very much, buddy, and we'll talk to you down the road. All right, folks. So if you're wondering where Action Jackson is,
Yeah.
he's crossing the United States with his mom and dad going back east, and he's basically getting a 70-mile-an-hour history lesson because they went up to Utah and across to Colorado, so they're going the northern route. And
Spent a little time in Vegas.
Yep, and they're loving life, so that's why you haven't heard his
little
ringing little voice.
Yeah, my little buddy. It's lonely. If you're listening, Jackson, it's pretty lonely here in the studio without you, buddy.
Hey, we live in a time where the mainstream media and politicians are trying to eliminate your ability to defend yourself. Gun control laws don't work. If laws against murderers don't stop a criminal, is a background check really going to stop them? Making good people helpless doesn't make bad people harmless. Help us restore and defend the Second Amendment. Hit and like the subscribe button and share the show with a friend. All right. We got your man on the line. Are you looking it up?
I was just going over the question. Time for everybody's favorite, Stump My Nephew. We found out that Sam, the gunman, who happens to be my nephew, is extremely good at gun trivia. So every week, if you send in a trivia question and we read it on the air, we'll give you a hat or a shirt. And if you stump my nephew, we'll give you a special prize.
And he has never, ever heard this question up front. These are as cold as oatmeal.
Yeah, they're as cold as oatmeal. Okay. Sam, you there?
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good. How do you feel about oatmeal, Sam?
Ambivalent. It's all right.
No, it's not. It's got a
cold.
nasty consistency. Yeah.
It's all right.
You'll eat anything.
I will. All right. Okay. So here is, you ready for the question?
Yeah, let's have it.
This is I haven't asked you a question in a long time. Usually it's Action Jackson, one of our special guests. So I almost forgot how to do it. Victor from Sacramento, he writes in and he asks, this is a good question. What winemaker also makes firearms?
Victor from Sacramento. Thanks for writing in. I'm completely stumped here. I'm inclined to say it's probably one of the Italian gun makers because, it's Italy, but I couldn't even venture a guess.
Well, you don't even drink, do you?
Very, very, very seldom do I ever drink.
Manischewitz.
But that's why he doesn't know. Just for the hay of it.
Manischewitz.
Throw a name out.
A guess.
Just throw a name out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I don't guess, I know I'm wrong. I'm going to say Franke.
Franke.
I never heard of it. We've never heard of Franke.
That actually does sound like sounds like a nice Pinot Noir.
Well, it does sound like better than what the real.
Yeah. So you were very much on the right track, my friend. And I think that they asked the question in a purposely confusing way. Here's the answer. In addition to high-quality firearms, the Beretta family produces a number of renowned Italian wines. So, yes, it technically would be possible to put your Beretta shotgun to work by day and enjoy a Beretta beverage by night.
That would have been my third guess.
What would have been your second guess?
Yeah.
Benelli.
Benelli.
Yeah, well, I think I would
If
have
I'm
gone.
wrong, but Franchi and Benelli are both owned by Beretta, aren't they?
I don't know.
You're asking
yeah,
us.
we
You're asking us.
Look, we ask the questions
Yeah,
here,
come
okay?
on, kid. Get in the line.
Jeez.
Get in the line.
I shot a Beretta today, my friend.
Did you? Did you hit anything?
I did. I just had my best round of sporting clays ever with a Beretta shotgun that I'd never shot before.
Did you buy it new?
Probably should.
Did you buy it?
No, it's a buddy of mine. It's an M2, right, Sam? It's their semi-auto.
Beretta makes the A300 and A400.
Oh, I shot a Benelli, not a Beretta.
Yeah, Benelli, M2 is Benelli.
All right. Would that have been your fourth wine guess?
No, Benelli would have been my second. Beretta would have been my third.
All right.
Interesting.
So, I shot a Benelli
So
M2.
guess what, Victor? You win a Jeep.
You just got to go to
You just got to get
gotta
it
go to the
running.
mechanic to pick it up. I don't know what we'll have to. Victor, you're in Sacramento, my friend, so we'll have to figure out something special for you.
So, Sam, what any reaction in your neck of the woods over the Supreme Court?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah.
Which one?
The one that would be most appropriate for this show.
Okay, just making sure.
No, not a problem.
There hasn't really been a lot of discussion of NYSRPA versus Bruen out here because Virginia is a shell issue state. And for those of you, the five of you who are listening who don't already know the difference here,
I heard that.
some states, well, I just figure most of you already know about this. Some states like California are called may issue states with regards to concealed carry permits, which means the way the law is written, the sheriff of each county has the ability to issue concealed handgun permits to people who already satisfy all the requirements, but is not compelled to issue those permits. In states like Virginia, shell issue states, as long as any interested person meets all the requirements for usually for training and paying a fee to be issued a concealed carry permit, you have to be issued that permit. So there's no legal mechanism by which a sheriff's department out here can deny someone just arbitrarily for no reason or for a ridiculous reason a concealed handgun permit. And it appears that this latest Supreme Court decision would rule may issue unconstitutional, and that would imply that every state now must issue concealed carry permits to people who satisfy the requirements. Again, training and paying a fee.
Right. There you go. That's exactly right. Now, did you read the decision yet?
I did not read the decision.
I'm actually looking forward to. I've read most of the decision, but I'm really looking forward to the dissent. I really want to read the dissent. I want to see what did they object to? What convoluted malarkey did they?
That's where all the fun's going to be.
Well, the other part of that is Kagan and Sotomayor, both when they were, being confirmed or considered for the Supreme Court, the Senate asked, "Hey, what do you think about Heller, the 2008 Second Amendment, case?" And they both said, "Oh, well, it's law of the land. We'll respect it." So I want to see what in their dissent, how did they respect Heller and rule against this decision? I'd like to see that.
Now, again, I haven't read the decision, so I can't speak to this authoritatively. Also, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. Don't take anything I say as legal advice. I would imagine that the dissent is probably along the lines that states should retain the authority to be able to deny people who are potentially dangerous a concealed carry permit, though that, there's the argument to be made that the background checks you are already subject to when you apply for a permit would render that a moot point. But I am also curious as to what the dissent would be.
Well, I tell you, I don't know what you thought of the Heller decision. Obviously, it was good and it helped, but I really truly think that this decision is even better than the Heller decision.
I would agree. It's important that we understand the Second Amendment, and really beyond that, outside the formal legal framework. It's important that we understand the right to keep and bear arms as a right established for the purposes of self-defense and personal protection. That's the sort of ethical theory behind all of this, even if you ignore the Constitution, even if you ignore nations and borders.
Yeah, and it's not going to happen overnight, but I do think that once every state pretty much has the same standards, I think we're a step closer to reciprocity. 50-state reciprocity. So if you have a CCW in California, you can carry in all 50 states. This decision did not address that directly, but I think that we might be a step closer to that. Which
baby
is
steps.
The decision did say that it's not unconstitutional to require a CCW. So I know a lot of people were wondering, hey, can I just carry without a permit now? Open carry? But nope. Still, if your state requires a CCW, that's considered constitutional. But it just has to be objective. Can't be subjectively,
subjective.
Yeah, exactly. It can't be subjectively subjective. All right. Well, cool, Sam. Anything else?
No, I'm just, I would love to see national CCW reciprocity, though, of course, concealed carry laws are up to the determination of the state, the individual states. I am always sort of wary about decisions being made at a higher level of politics than they maybe should be. I think devolving power to the smallest level possible is usually a good thing. But that being said, I would like to see national reciprocity. Yeah. So we'll see how that pans out. A lot to look forward to in that specific regard.
Awesome. All right, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one.
You too. Good night.
All right, folks. Hey, you need to subscribe to our show. Give us a 5-star review. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, just about anywhere. And please support all our fantastic sponsors, San Diego County, Orange County, and Inland Empire gun owners, the Dillon Law Group, PRMI Mortgage, Sage Tree Digital Marketing, Seal One, Leo Hamill Fine Jewelries, and San Diego Flight Training International. And a big shout out to Michael Schwartz, Sam the Gunman, Action Jackson, who's on the road, and Brendan Thomas. And Bob Siegel's coming up next. And if you haven't marked your calendar, I don't know if we have a date yet, but you need to come to Gun Prom next year. I think it's going to be a new date, Mr. Schwartz. Gun Prom next year.
Yeah, we'll announce it soonly.
But make sure you keep your eyes and ears open. Best way to do it is tune in to Gun Owners Radio, FM 96, AM 1170.
The Answer.